Yo, what's up guys, DubWar here and welcome back to another Clash of Clans video. Today we have episode 2 for my What a Clashtastrophy series, and before we actually get into this, I do have a lot of loot on me right now, so we're actually going to go ahead and do some upgrades. I do have 7.8 million gold, so we're going to go ahead and do an Archer Tower upgrade to level 13, so now we're going to be down to about 300,000 gold, but at least I do have some loot in the clan castle, so I'm going to go ahead and collect that, and now we're back up to 1.5 million gold and now 5.6 million elixir, and I'm actually going to go ahead and do an upgrade in my laboratory. Now, I've been debating on this, and I've always wanted to kind of like stay away from doing these upgrades just because I don't actually really need to do them. I never actually use barbarians, I never actually use goblins, but I think it'd actually be okay to do my goblins just because I can maybe see myself using them in the future if farming becomes a more regular thing again. But in terms of Dark Elixir, we're at 183,000, and I am in a clan war right now, so I can't really do that upgrade right now. We'll do that after this war because these guys are actually pretty tough, so I definitely need both of my heroes for that. Anyways, we are done with the upgrade, so let's stop talking about that, and here is what today's video is all about. So I was watching this attack, and I think this was maybe 2 clan wars ago as I'm making this video, and I was watching our number 3 attack their number 3, and I saw this army. I was like, oh, this is definitely going to be pretty interesting because all it really takes is one giant bomb and to set off, and all 8 of those witches can go to shit. So I was definitely very interested to see how this raid turns out. He started off by putting down 2 jump spells and then followed it up by putting down a golem on the left side, a golem on the right, and 2 golems on the top. The golem on the right side got completely destroyed right off the bat because the Archer Queen was getting free shots on him, and also that Inferno Tower melted it. So it's looking pretty good so far at this point because he does have his Barbarian King along with a bunch of other troops and 2 golems right in the very center. He put down a freeze spell, now he put down a haste spell, and it's looking pretty ugly at this point. Now he used his Grand Warden's ability, so everyone was invincible for a few seconds, and it looks like a lot of the troops actually did go off to the left side, so that's good because they're taking out all those outside buildings. Then there's the troops in the middle, which absolutely sweeped everything, and then on the right side we have the Archer Queen, along with, I think, is that 2? No, that's only 1 witch, so they're taking out those buildings, so it's not looking too pretty for this defender because he doesn't have very many defensive towers left, and there are still a lot of troops on the field, and especially with that queen and her ability, that's enough to take out at least 3 or 4 defensive towers. So just for security reasons, it looks like he also did put down a freeze spell on the wizard tower because he was afraid that maybe it would take out the witches and wizards. I don't know. I personally don't think I'd use that freeze spell for that, but to each their own. Maybe he just really wanted to make sure that he could secure the 100% victory, and looks like we're coming down to the last few buildings here. All that's left now is just that cannon. The queen still actually has her ability, which is quite surprising because normally you'd think by now she'd take a couple hits here and there, right? But no, this guy actually managed to get 100% on this base and still had a lot of troops left over, so that is definitely a very solid 100% victory raid right there by Joe Mariola. So now it's my turn to go ahead and try this out. This is my first attempt ever. So obviously I don't really know where to attack from just because there are a lot of 2x2 squares everywhere. And I think this army composition setup mostly depends on the witches, and all it takes is one giant bomb to completely sweep my army. So that's not what I want, but it looks like I don't have much of a choice as to where I want to attack from. I'm going to come in from the bottom just because I think if I can get my golems into these compartments, they can check for me if there are any giant bombs. So I'm going to put down 2 golems on the left side, 2 golems on the right side, follow it up with a bunch of wizards, and then put down my wall breakers so they can make some open compartments. And then as soon as my golems go in and check if there are any giant bombs, which yes, there are, there actually were 2 giant bombs. Now I can safely put down all my witches, and now we can go ahead and smear this guy's base. So let's see how this turns out. So I did put down one of my rage spells a little bit too early there. I feel like I should have waited for them to break into that second compartment there before I put down my first rage spell. So that way my second rage spell could be right in the very center of this guy's base, but doesn't really matter. We'll see how this goes. I do have a freeze spell. I'm going to put that down here in just a second because it is locked onto one of my golems. So there we go. It just got into phase 3 there, but I just froze it in time, so I don't actually really know if my golem went down or not. But either way, all of my troops are right in the very center, and they are smearing everything apart. Now, watch what happens. All of the splash damage from this cannon in this wizard tower was enough to actually take out pretty much my whole entire army. And I feel like my issue with this raid was the fact that I got all of my troops right to the very center of the base, which is nice, of course, right? I mean, it looked awesome because all of my witches and wizards were right in the very center destroying everything. But then again, I didn't have enough troops on the outside of this guy's base cleaning up some of the outside buildings. So that's where I kind of got affected. Either way, it doesn't really matter because this is my first time ever using this army composition setup and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. So looking at where we are right now, we're at 66%. There are a couple troops left on the right side, and looks like they're taking out that Dark Elixir drill, so I'm going to wait for them to do that. And now we're at 68%. What is left here? We actually don't have any troops except all the stuff that's on the right side, and I think we have like 2 wizards, golem, and a witch. So yeah, there's not very much else that I can do at this point. Just gonna wait for them to just like push through. A giant bomb actually goes off, and I'm just gonna wait for my witch to take out that builder's hut, and then I'm gonna go ahead and surrender. We're gonna walk away with 477,000 gold, 444,000 elixir, and 3.2k dark elixir. Also, I did move back up to masters, so I do get 110,000 of both resources, which is obviously quite nice. And now we are here with the next raid. This base is definitely a lot harder. His inferno towers are set to multi, which makes it obviously much more difficult for me, because if my witches get too close to that and they do lock onto them, you know, they're gonna get fried, so I gotta watch out for that. And also, just in general, his upgrades are a lot higher. Everything's actually maxed out with his defensive towers, and just his walls are still level 8 and 9 in some areas, and also the core seems to be level 10. So I'm gonna start this off by putting down 1 archer in this like 3x3 square that I saw. I just had a feeling that there was going to be a giant bomb in there, so why not at least check, right? So I was right about that. There was a giant bomb in there. I'm going to spread around my golems, and they're going to take out these defensive towers on the outside. Then I'm going to follow it up by putting down a bunch of wall breakers all over the place, so there's a bunch of open compartments. Then my main attack is coming in from the right side. Really still, like, at this point in the raid, I'm like, oh god, please don't mess up. Like, if a giant bomb just randomly comes out of nowhere and just, like, completely smashes all of my troops, it's not going to look too good. So it's looking okay right now. It's a little bit too messy for me to be able to like tell what's actually happening right now. So put down my second freeze spell at this point. My Barbarian King is in the middle. I had to use his ability there. That Inferno Tower on the bottom part is staying up for way too long, and I don't even know if it actually took out a lot of my troops or not. So I feel like one of the downsides with this army composition setup is that you don't know what's actually happening like half the time, just because, you know, there's such a mass production of skeletons going on at the same time, and if they're all spawning in like close to your other troops, you don't even know if the Inferno Tower is locked onto a skeleton. Maybe it's locked onto like the golem. Like, you just don't know. You really have to pay attention as to what's going on. But it's really hard. Like, it seems easy, you know, you're just like flooding in all your troops, but at the same time you got to try to think about what's really happening. And so in this case, even though this raid turned out pretty successful so far, my troops are actually starting to like slowly die down here. In general, I think this was actually a pretty good raid, but like I mentioned, half the time I didn't actually really know what was going on, so I kind of just like fluked it and was hoping for the best, you know. We're down to just the Barbarian King right now. He is taking out that gold storage, and he's going to move up to this gold mine right here, and there's like 4 defensive towers locked onto him right now, so he's going to get taken out. And I should have just surrendered right there. I'm not too sure why I kept this going. I do have 1 archer on me though, so I'm going to go ahead and deploy her on the very bottom part where there's some free buildings, and while we wait for her to do that for no reason at all, I was gonna quickly update you guys with something. So I know that today I was supposed to release my first video on Counter-Strike Global Offensive, but that's gonna have to wait because I have an important video for tomorrow, which is also on Clash of Clans. And then after tomorrow, I swear to God, we're gonna have a different game on this channel, and I really hope, and I'm crossing my fingers, that you guys are gonna like it, and that way I can start uploading some other stuff on this channel other than Clash. I still really like Clash, don't get the wrong idea guys, but like I mentioned in the past couple videos, I really want to do some other stuff on this channel as well. Anyways, so we are back in the base. I'm gonna go ahead and collect my pumps and mines. I don't have enough resources to do another upgrade, but I can go ahead and do some wall upgrades. So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some wall upgrades on the right side here, which is where I want to fortify my dark elixir as much as possible. So we're gonna do 1 wall upgrade up here next to this archer tower, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do another wall upgrade down here by the cannon. I think I'm gonna save my resources for now. I don't actually want to spend any more gold just because I do want to get another Archer Tower upgrade, hopefully in the next 2 videos or so. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure to smack that like button down below. Helps me out a bunch, and I will see you all tomorrow. Peace, guys, and keep clashing.